2023-24 season is upon us, and I'm ready for some basketball, man. Been waiting nice couple months for this. It starts today or tomorrow, depending on when I release this. And honestly, trying to get back into the mood of all things basketball. I wanted to look at some trends that I've been seeing throughout the league. One thing I realized: almost every team has either a duo or, dare I say, a trio. To me, that means that we have more talented people in the league that we're able to put them together, because I don't know, there's not enough teams to spread out, all the best players. So a lot of the best players are on the same team. And then when you got that, who's the number one option? Every team, I feel like, benefits from knowing from the get-go who their number one option is, who is the leader of the team per se, who is the one that you're looking for in the clutch. You're making schemes for, you're drawing plays for them, bailing you out. I feel like each team needs that one guy that they will look for. While looking through all these duos and trios, I'm wondering who should be the number one for some of these teams, because some of them have two amazing players that it's kind of a toss-up. Both have been number ones in their life, and now the team's wondering who should be their driving force, the person that they rely on the most. And that is where I am to answer those questions. So I'm gonna run through a couple teams. We gonna see who I feel like should be the number one throughout the season for that team. Let's get into it. Like, subscribe to the video. Let's get it going. Started off with the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks for the last couple years have been a Luka Doncic team. His usage rate through these years have been ridiculous. People resemble him as prime James Harden in Houston days, with how he plays, how the team plays around him, that really everything goes through him. And since last year, midway through last year, they acquired probably by far Luka's best teammate to date in Kyrie Irving. Kyrie, throughout his career, has never been a number one, and I really don't think that's going to change. He doesn't affect the game as a number one option would. He's pretty good. He's very good at playmaking. His shine comes when he's finishing at the rim, taking people on, and I don't think that play style is ideal for a number one. Maybe that's why he's never been a number one, really. His little time at Boston, I guess he was a number one, but that clearly didn't work out that well. But with them two together, I feel like he complements Luka, just because Luka as a number one is a little too ball heavy, ball dominant, where he needs a number two to take some of that pressure away from him, but still not taking the number one option from him, because Luka needs to be that guy. Luka legit does everything for the Mavericks, and he doesn't need to do it at the level that he's been doing it at. He could slow it down, but they need to always rely on him, because he's by far the best player. He is touted to be the best player in the next couple years, so they need to lean their backs on him. But it's good that he got some help now. They got a bit better team than they did last year, so hopefully they can make it back in the playoffs and show how good they really can be, because they could be better than they've been. Next team we're going to get on to is going to be the Phoenix Suns. This is a team with a trio, but in that trio, it's really a duo. We've seen that duo last year in the playoffs in KD and Booker. And to me, the number one option needs to be Booker. And this is the main reason. In the past two playoff series, KD hasn't been on the level as a number one option. Last year in the regular season, he had arguably his best regular season to date. But in the playoffs, he was overshadowed by his teammate and wasn't at the efficiency he was a couple months before in the regular season. Devin Booker, on the other hand, since he's been in the playoffs, not counting one bad series against the Mavericks. We can excuse him for one bad series, all right? Uh, he has shown that he is a serial playoff performer, one of the best in the league. And like he, besides maybe Jokic, was the best playoff player last year. I feel like he needs to be the one that is the main guy for the Phoenix Suns. He's been there, the longest tenured player there. I feel like none of that should change with all the talent that's coming around him. That should only elevate him, not push him aside to be a second option, because he's ridiculous, man. This man just keeps getting better every year, and if he makes another jump, Booker can be top 5. He can be MVP conversation. Like, that's how high we should be talking about him nowadays. And people like Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal being around him should not stop that. So Book is number 1. Let's drop an East team in there. Let's drop a team that's close to my heart. Can I get it? I got it. The Toronto Raptors. I've watched every game of the Raptors last year, so I feel like I have probably the best opinion out of all these teams on this one. Our 2 main guys for this year, Scottie, our Rookie of the Year, fourth overall pick 2 years ago, going into his 3rd season, and it's Siakam, our All-NBA, All-Star, beast power forward that's been very reliable for us the last couple years as our number 1 option. Going into this season, I feel like the reign needs to be Scottie. Scottie needs to have all the power on this team, because I feel like to get his best potential, and I feel like his best potential is scary, so it's worth trying to fight for it, is him being the number 1 option. Let me tell you why. Last year, I feel like 2 reasons are why Scottie overall had a down year. Even though these 2 reasons were still here in his Rookie of the Year season, but if we're really trying to make him have this jump that we can see him having, the 2 reasons are going to be why he prevails. And one of them is him being the main point guard. And already we traded Fred. Not even traded, we let him go for free, but that's another story. But Fred's gone. He was our main facilitator. He was our number 1 guy, playmaking point guard. And I feel like that hindered Scottie, because Scottie needs to be that guy. Scottie's shown that he has the levels to do it. To be honest, out of all the people I see in the game, he's probably one of the top people I want the most getting a defensive rebound and pushing the ball up. He's great at organizing the team, finding his mans. If he needs to go downhill, he can go downhill, bully his way. And he needs to sharpen these skills to be at his full potential. And having Fred there kind of hindered that a bit, but now he has the reins to be our number 1 playmaker. Dennis Schroeder coming in is not going to stop that. He's going to help him, but not stop it. But yeah, Scottie needs to be the main playmaker. And the number 2 reason, which is still a problem, too many people in his position are on our team, in our starting lineup. OG, Pascal, Scottie. All around the same height, around the same build. Kind of redundant having all 3 of them, but they're on our team. So I feel like later on down the line, we're not going to have that always as a problem, or it can be a good thing in disguise. But for us last year, it was a problem. Scottie had to be getting on centers. He had to be going down, defending point guards. Can't really stick with his position because we have OG that can guard the same people he can. Pascal that can guard the same guys he can. So honestly, Scottie needs to be the main attention on this team because he has the highest upside, and we need to really cater to him. So these little problems that we have right now, we need to work on fixing it for the betterment of him, because I'm telling you, I know this is all Raptors fan, but man, I don't know, watching him play game in, game out, you see something in him that he really can be a dangerous player. And that only starts with him being the number 1 option. So I'm sorry, Pascal. I love Pascal, honestly. Watching him last year, my favorite Raptor last year. But Long term, this needs to be how it has to be. Sticking in the East, let's go to the Bulls, because the Bulls got two All-Stars. I don't know if Zach LaVine's been all NBA. DeMar was 2 seasons ago. He had his best season. Honestly, this team needs to break it up, but because they haven't, their number one option needs to be Zach. DeMar don't got a lot of years left. I feel like I don't gotta really argue this. DeMar can arguably be the better player, but how many years left does he got? Do we really think he's going to be on Chicago that much longer, even if he does got a couple good years? Just, if y'all not going to break up this team, try to find a team that works around Zach. Make Zach the number one guy. And yeah, the Bulls, the Bucks. Dame or Giannis? Dame or Giannis? That's the question. Both have been number one guys their whole career. Both have shined in that role. Dame now has the best teammate he has had in the NBA. Just like Luka. The only difference is this teammate he has is better than him. Has been better than him. Has been a top 3 player consistently. You can't push him aside to be number 2 option. I think that's easy too. Dame is probably the best number 2 option someone can have though. So he's very close to number 1. He can act like a number 1. Many times when Giannis is out, he's going to be the number 1. But when the team is fully healthy, Dame got to step aside for Giannis. And I feel like he's going to be okay with that. But he just wants a ring. But he just wants that ring. Go get that ring. With the Magic. Magic got 2 guys. Franz, Paolo. They're both drafted the past 2 years. Paolo number 1. Franz, I think I don't know. I think in the 10s. Could be wrong, but Franz to me is the better player. Very underrated. I can't even know his draft number. That's how underrated he is. People don't talk about him too much, but I feel like anytime I see him play, which is not too often, but every time I do, I feel like he's crazy. I feel like he got that potential. I feel like I'm surprised why he's not talked about. It's probably the team he's on. If the team had more success, people would really see what he's been doing, but until that happens, Paolo is just going to be that shining guy, number 1 pick. But he hasn't. Last year, I think he had an overrated season. Wasn't too efficient. Won Rookie of the Year because he didn't have the most competition. Still a good player, very good player. He was good in the World Cup this year. But you know who else was amazing? Franz. Number 1 option, Franz. Come on, Magic. Last team I want to talk about is the Lakers. Lakers got 2 arguably top 10, 15 players in the league. AD, LeBron. LeBron James being the number 1 player to me in their whole time in their Laker tenure as teammates. LeBron's been the number 1 guy, and I feel like that needed to change last year, 2 years ago. The year after the bubble, AD needed to start taking that reign as the clear number 1 guy. And with it being injuries and with LeBron still playing at a crazy level, that hasn't been the case. And I don't know what it's got to take for Anthony Davis to make that leap above LeBron, but it has to happen, because I feel like the Lakers having the most success is when Anthony Davis is the best player on that team. Anthony Davis being unstoppable on the defensive end, no one touching him on the offensive end. Hopefully he plays enough games this year for it to be a thing, and hopefully his play is consistent enough and at a high enough level to just bring LeBron down a pedestal. Like, man, this man's the oldest man in the league. They made it to the conference final last year, and he's still y'all number 1 option. Come on, man. Come on, AD. So if LeBron's the number 1, I don't think that's worst case. But for the Lakers to be the best team they can be, AD got to be at the top, man. When are you trying to be at the top, AD, man? Huh? You waiting for Pelican days still to come back? Come on, man. There's more duos in the league, but I feel like more other teams have a clear-cut number one, and Robin. That's like, I don't know. It's like you can tell the hierarchy. But yeah, those are my number one options. Y'all let me know who I did wrong, who I missed to include. Y'all let me know what's up. How y'all feeling for this season? About to start. Y'all excited?